our forefathers built upon this continent a new nation, whereby all men are created equal. Well, I want you to know this afternoon, we as African Americans have not found equal rights as of yet. But all I know this afternoon is that we're facing trying times. You see, I realize what type of times we finding ourselves in because we lost a few 100,000 black men on the battleground during the Civil War. Then it came to World War I. We lost many black men for so-called freedom. You see, they claimed that they taught us how to pray. But you see, we was already praying. We may not have been praying quite the way that they wanted us to pray, but we was already praying. Then when they brought us into their plantations, they taught us how to pray the way that they do. We already had the rhythm and the rhyme. We already had the strength and the insight of a spiritual world. We only made it better than what they was able to make it be. Then after a while, during World War I, the United States was losing. Then they brought the black man into World War I, and the battle turned around for positive. Only for him to see when he got back into the United States, he still was not a free man. They was arresting them when they came home, still in their uniforms, putting them on farmland to work for the so-called slave masters that claimed they was prison guards. Then World War II came along. They was put in a position where so many of them was put there to fight for the freedom of this nation, only to find themselves in a situation whereby when they won that battle in World War II to come home and find themselves yet not free men. They was not receiving equal pay for equal rights. Their wives was hungry. The children was walking on the street with no shoes on, only to find out that many of them was put in jail and sent to prison, even for crimes they didn't commit. Then came the Korean War. Black soldiers went there and fought for our freedom. Came back home to find out that there was a restroom waiting for them that said coloreds only, whites only. To only find out that there was a prison waiting for them, even if they was innocent, to work in the cotton field, in somebody's prison. Then came Vietnam, and Vietnam brought a lot of mothers many tears and snares, hardship, and most of all broken-heartedness. Oh yes, many mothers got the letter saying, I'm sorry to tell you, but your son died on Hamburger Hill. I'm sorry to tell you that your son died in My Lai. Oh yes, those men that came back home only found themselves in a situation where there was no job waiting for them. Only thing that they was able to do was to stand on a street corner and beg or sell drugs in order to make it. But all that I want you to know this afternoon is that there's a God sitting high and looking low. He knows all things, and I want you to know this afternoon is that he had a soldier waiting in the background. One of the soldiers stood up and said, most graciously. He said, I have a dream today. Well, his dream was that all of us would be able to walk together with harmony, love, and understanding. Little white children and black children would be able to play together. White women and black men would be able to marry without any repercussions down the way. But I want you to know this afternoon, before that dream was fulfilled, he was cut down in the prime of his life. Yeah. And if he would get up out of that grave and walk around this afternoon, tears would roll down his eyes, only to see your sons and daughters are in prison today, working yet in the plantation fields that they have designed for both innocent and guilty, right and wrong. But I want you to know that there was another one there talking about Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm talked so bad about whites, even when I listened to him as a teenager, it pricked my heart, because I felt like there was more to life than hatred and despair. Then when he went to Mecca, he wrote back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and said, over here in Mecca, I see pale-skinned Muslims, I see dark Muslims, I see blonde hair and blue-eyed Muslims. They all are getting along together as brothers and sisters with unity and love. That's when Malcolm pulled out of the Nation of Islam and started setting up his own. Later, he was gunned down for his beliefs. If he would wake up this afternoon, his heart would be so heavy. His soul would be so weary, only to see that your sons and daughters are yet in slavery. Then there was one better known as Mississippi Brothers or Sons. He stood up and spoke against racism and despair. I'm talking about Mega Everett. He spoke against the unrighteousness that men had put on other men. And he said with a clear conscience that a way must be made, only to be gunned down in his driveway. If Mega would wake up today and walk around here in Mississippi, I wonder will tears roll down his eyes, only to see that there are many black men in prison for crimes they did not commit. But all I say this afternoon is that we must prepare ourselves, because we're in a situation where there's politicians in this day and time who do not care for you. They don't have your best interests at heart. And the sad part about it, it's no longer a black man problem, but it is a white man problem, an Israeli problem, a Hispanic problem, a nation problem. It is those men and women who are poor, who are being brought to the prison fields and sold out for slavery. Why? Because they want to build more private prisons to house your sons and daughters, to keep them in despair and hardship. And I say to you today, my brothers and sisters, you cannot sit idly by waiting for your change to come. You